Hi, Danu. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, sounding good, Jillian.
All right. I am going to go grab my water bottle. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Danu, is there anything you need me to share this evening? Like when I share my screen?
Um, well, let me do, we'll do a test run with our video, eh?
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Yeah. Um,
There you are.
Hi.
Hi.
So, maybe just that award, you said you took a picture of the Hort Copeland Mock Award that they got?
Yes, I have
Um,
that. And I made my director's report kind of a picture slideshow. So as I'm talking, there'll be something to look at besides just me talking. So I do
okay,
have that on there.
okay, great. And then, did you want to talk about the capital improvement plans at all? The 5-year plan, or is that more kind of administrative?
Um, I can talk about them. They're pretty much solidified on our end, so I could definitely mention what we have on there. I know that council will need to approve everything, but
Oh, well, maybe let's just wait until council approves it all.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Tim,
Hey, Danu.
how's it going?
Good. How are you doing? I'll turn on my
Good.
camera here for a second, but I'm in the car. I'm hanging out at soccer practice.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm surprised the game didn't get rained out, called off.
no, we got lucky. Today's been a practice day. Cassandra's at work, so I went and helped out with the middle school cross country practice, and then zipped home, and I got William out at soccer.
All right. That's great.
How are you
Um,
doing?
good, good. So I know it's a weird 9/11, I don't know who else is gonna come tonight. So I know that Chris is out of town, and I think
She's way out of town.
yeah. Chris went to Croatia. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's gonna do Croatia, and then she's gonna go to Munich for Oktoberfest.
Colin. All right. Just one more, and then we can start. But we're a little early, huh?
Hey,
Just a few
everybody. Hey,
minutes. Hey, Colin.
hey, Danu, we have some furniture being delivered sometime between 6 and 6:30. They were supposed to be here an hour and a half ago, but they're running a little late. So I might have to take like a quick 10-minute pause or something. Just
Okay,
to get them situated, but
sure, sure. Dave Crawford,
Danu, how are you?
I'm well. How you doing?
Excellent.
Oh, very good. So do you guys want to get started, or do you want to wait? Maybe Rebecca might jump on too. I'll wait.
Yeah, why don't we give it a couple more minutes?
Yeah, a couple more minutes. Yeah.
Colin, how's campaigning?
well, it's been I've got a website under development, a yard
Really?
sign now. I raised $1,200 for my campaign. So I guess that's going okay. And I've had a couple meet and greet things, and I've scheduled a couple, and I'll definitely let you know the ones that are open.
You're
I had
running
a
for an
nice meeting
at-large.
with Nancy
You're running for an
Fortune.
at-large spot, right?
Yeah, that's right. And there's like 10 of us on the ballot. It's crazy.
You know, I think
You
there's a
need dark money.
I was just going to say there's a meet and greet at the Cliff House, but if you want to go, you have to make a reservation.
Yeah, and I'm going to be out of town for that. I think that's like next week, right? Next Wednesday, the 20th. I got invited to it, but we're not going to be here, so
let me see.
have to miss that one. So I'm trying to schedule a couple of my own. Danu came to my first public outing.
September 20th, 5:30 to 8 o'clock at the Cliff House, sponsored by the Manitou Springs Chamber of Commerce, the Cliff House, and the League of Women Voters. Space is limited, so you have to RSVP. Is anyone interested? Because I can give you the.
What day is that?
I think what I say, September 20th.
I'll get work.
Yeah, September 20th.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
but that's the one I'm going to be out of town for, unfortunately.
Yeah, so if you want to RSVP, you need to call the chamber and speak with Leslie Lewis, 685-5089. Little PSA there. Okay, 6 o'clock. You guys want to roll?
Let's do it.
I'm game.
Okay. Oh, great. Anthony's here. Oh, let's see if Rebecca shows up. How you doing, Anthony?
Doing well. How are you?
Well, thank you. I think we're all doing well here. So I'm just gonna wait for Rebecca, see if she jumps on here, and then I'll start the meeting. Did you guys have a chance to review the budget at all? I know the packet comes out Friday, but were you able to kind of look at it over the weekend?
I did not.
Okay, that's okay.
I'll admit.
Tim, did you really want to talk about your cannon tonight? I didn't put it on the agenda.
It could be. I've got some ideas about that. We can talk about it. Talk about it next month. Maybe we should. Everybody should brainstorm first. But I've got some really, well, I think interesting ideas about a memorial for Manitou public servants.
Huh. Well, I'm going to
I
put you.
think.
How about if I put you in charge of what it would take to get rid of that cannon? Like, you know, like do some research to find out the proper people to talk to about that.
Yeah, you know who I think I need to reach out to first is you remember Matt Kavanaugh? I bet he knows.
That would probably
They
be.
moved. Yeah, they moved to Park City, but I'm guessing if he doesn't know, he knows who to talk to.
Right. Or you could start with the VFW. You know, the post that we have here in town.
Yeah, I think I'll still go with Matt first.
Okay.
He
All
knows everything.
All right. That sounds
And
good.
really, he did such good. He really did an amazing job. You remember when he wrote the article about Ibert Duclos?
Yes.
He did a lot of
Yes.
really good research.
Yeah, it was a good article. Rebecca,
What's up?
hey, hello. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are y'all doing?
We're good. Okay, I was just waiting for you. So I'm gonna start the
Oh,
meeting
thanks.
now. So I'd like to call this meeting to order for our 9/11 meeting. And if I could get anybody to approve the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, great. Tim moves to approve. Dave seconds. Is anybody opposed to approving the agenda? Okay, then the agenda is passed. All approved. We don't have any minutes this meeting. Next month we'll have our meeting minutes for this meeting and for the last meeting. Public comments not on the agenda. And we have no presentations. Say it again, sorry.
I just said, yeah, I don't think we have anybody else here.
Right, no. No presentations. So let's just jump into reports. So for the PARAB report, I am very pleased to announce that Hort Copeland Mock, under Robin Bartling's team, won a park design for our Soda Springs Park, Phase 1. And Jillian attended that ceremony. And she took a picture.
All right, let me share my screen really quick. And it's
Okay.
just of the award. We got a really cute selfie, but I couldn't find it. So here's this. All right, so Hort Copeland and Mott won a merit award. Wait, sorry, can everyone see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So HCM won a merit award for the Soda Springs Park Phase 1. And this was in the category of designs under $500,000. So it was a really great ceremony. They actually won 2 awards that night, so that was exciting. We were in good company. We had folks from Colorado Springs there with Panorama Park as well as some other parks across the state. So it was a good ceremony. It was very hot in that building, but it was worth it. It was a lot of fun. So congratulations to everyone who helped with this project.
Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. And I don't see Pottery Barn anywhere on that either.
No pottery.
Okay. Let's see. I don't really have anything else to report for PARAB. And then, I guess our council liaison is in here. I kind of forget to include her into the loop, but Jillian, do you have anything that you've heard from city council or anything that pertains to our parks?
Well, at the last city council meeting, I know that they signed the mayor signed the proclamation making the last week of September, first week of October Creek Week officially. So we'll be on par with the rest of the Pikes Peak region in that. And I'll talk a little bit about the Creek Week cleanup event we're going to be hosting on October 7th when I do my report. So that was done. We had a pollinator district presentation also at the last city council meeting, which was really great. It was from Amy Yarder from the Butterfly Pavilion. And that is all that was relevant to parks at that meeting.
Great. Okay, any questions for Jillian? All right, and then we have the meetings that were approved from OSAC. And so now, Jillian, let's hear your director's report.
Great. I'm going to share my screen again. Figured folks would want to see pictures and not just me talking. So this should be showing up in just a moment. All right, you should be looking at Brad right now, standing next to our new pickleball paddle rack. He just installed that this morning, so they're next to each other. There is a slight gap in between. So if there are any suggestions for altering the locations, just let me know. They're extremely easy to move. We just want to make sure they're even and level. So that was Brad installing that this morning, right after it rained. I did have my parks maintenance team identify 2 locations for a potential bench by the pickleball court. So they love the idea of putting the bench below one of our trees. So that'll give folks who are waiting to play some shade. And depending on what sort of pad we put under it, it really won't be too difficult to mow around, especially because we're about to get a stand-up electric mower that will fit in smaller spaces. So we'll be able to drive that smaller mower right around that tree and bench area, and then just have a little bit extra to use the weed whacker on. So wanted to share those locations. I think this is on the agenda as well, so we can, I guess, share comments when we're in that section of the agenda. But I put little clip art benches to try to give an idea of what it'll look like. And these are 3-person benches. Right now we have 1 in storage, so if we want to do 2, we would need to purchase another one.
I have a question, Jillian.
Yeah.
You know, if we don't have to do a concrete pad, that's fine with me. What did Brad think about that?
Brad likes the idea of not use. I mean, he's neutral, I'll say. So he would support either. And I know Danu, when you and I met, you talked about not wanting additional concrete in that area. So we could figure something out as opposed to a concrete pad.
Okay, yeah. I only am concerned about that tree. If you do a concrete pad, it'll be too close to the tree roots if we, pour the concrete and all that stuff. So that's.
You tied Matthew in with this. There's something you can do. Man, it's an arborist term that I don't remember, but there's something you can do at the base of a tree to prevent root damage from structures that you put next to the tree. And I can bring that to the next meeting once I chat with Matthew. But there are things we could do to prevent damage to the tree roots if we were to pour concrete in that area.
Okay.
And speaking of trees, so I learned that PARAB is also the tree committee, which I did not know until a couple days ago. So I was requesting.
That's okay. We didn't used to know that either.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah. Let me clarify that a little bit. So the way it was set up was that the tree committee was supposed to be other citizens, and not just PARAB, but that the tree committee was going to be under the umbrella of PARAB, but not that PARAB is the tree committee. So when that got written up, that got all kind of twisted around because that wasn't our original understanding or intent to have PARAB be the tree committee.
Right. But as it turns out, urban forestry assets do fall under the purview of PARAB.
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you for the context. And with that, so we've been asked, and this is, I guess, per Denise and council, if we could possibly include a short update at the start of each PARAB meeting for the tree committee. And that could be presented by our city arborist, Matthew Nelson, who could provide an update on things like the tree survey or what their pruning plan is for the month, or which trees are slated to be removed and then which trees replanted. So consider that. Maybe we could start incorporating that in the next meeting, just so we're keeping that ball rolling for the tree advisory board. And on that note, Matthew did want me to report that him and Mandy are doing the tree survey the last week of September. They'll be out that entire week doing the tree survey. So that should be exciting to report on in October, probably November, actually. I don't know how long it will take them to compile all those results. We already went over our award. All right, and Danu, you asked me to give an update on the ADA remodel for the pool restroom. So we had selected a contractor for the ADA restroom remodel at the pool and fitness center. So essentially this would be remodeling the 2 locker rooms to make them ADA accessible, and then turning the utility closet at the back of the building into a family-sized changing room. So we found a great contractor. However, they were unable to produce a performance bond. So the project is on hold right now. We are deciding whether to rebid or go with one of the, I guess, our second choice bidder on the project. We did have one other bid. Construction is planned for this fall. It would necessitate a pool closure due to the lack of locker rooms. So if you have a pool, technically you have to have a shower facility for folks to shower before they get in the pool. So we would need to close the pool during that remodel. We are also working on a roof renovation project. So we had an engineering study done by Rivet Engineering, and they did determine that 2 sections of the roof in the pool can't hold another snowfall this winter. So we need to get them replaced, repaired and or replaced pretty quickly. So that should coincide with our ADA remodel if we're able to do that this fall. And you guys might, if you visit the pool, you've probably seen these sections of ceiling. They're at the east end of the pool, and they're the lower parts of the ceiling, they're actually actively leaking right now. So they really do need some help. That would also require the pool to be closed during construction. The silver lining is the fitness center will remain open throughout, and the estimated pool closure dates are late September through early December. Any questions with that? I know that's a lot with the pool.
What were those closing dates on the pool again?
The estimated pool closure dates are late September, so that would be very last week of September through early December.
Okay.
All right. And recently, Alex helped us with a Fields Park tennis court poll. So hopefully all of you had a chance to take this poll. This was asking folks whether or how they felt about possibly repurposing the tennis court into a hybrid tennis/pickleball court. So this poll was out until just this morning, and Alex closed it and sent me the results. So, and the main question on the poll, other than asking, are you a tennis player, a pickleball player, or both, was on a scale from strongly opposed to strongly support, how much would you oppose or support the following initiative? Repurposing the current tennis court at Fields Park to become a hybrid tennis/pickleball court, in addition to the 2 current pickleball only courts. Tennis would take precedent, meaning that if the court was being used for pickleball, but tennis players wanted to play, the pickleball players would have to leave the court once their game was finished. That's a mouthful. All right. So the poll results, and Alex broke out the numbers here. It showed that from the people who took the survey, we had 37 who strongly disagreed, 8 who disagreed. We had 1 person who was neutral. We had 15 who agreed, and 24 that strongly agreed. So the way this measures out, this was leaning slightly towards disagreeing with making the tennis court a hybrid tennis/pickleball court. And we had this poll out for about 2 weeks, just to give this some context. And we did have it on our city website and posted at the tennis and the pickleball court. I also received 2 emails from tennis court users who wanted to explain a little bit more than the survey allowed. And they did express concern regarding the potential modifications, and they would strongly prefer the tennis court stay as a tennis court and not re-hybridized. So I wanted to share that with PARAB because I know we talked about including striping on the court to make it a hybrid court. So I wanted just to make sure that we shared some other public opinion on this. Are there any questions about the survey? It's not the most scientific, but it was a survey that was relatively easy for folks to take. They could just scan the QR code on their phone and go right to that page.
So the strongly agree and the strongly disagree are pretty close, huh?
They're pretty close, yeah. So a little over, strongly disagree won by a little over 10. And Alex, man, he's really excellent at explaining survey results, and he went over this with me. That it is, he said it's fairly polarized. And I also have the full list of tennis players versus pickleball players who took this survey, if PARAB would be interested in looking at that. And you can definitely see what he means by polarized when you look at this list.
Hmm. So, so do you have a recommendation for us that maybe we shouldn't move forward with that then, eh? Is that kind of the,
Well, this was just, I wanted to share more information and gather public input on this. And, you know, based off of the tennis players that I've spoken with, I think they're just afraid of losing their court. That's what they feel would happen if we hybridize the court. It would suddenly be we have 4 pickleball courts and 1 tennis court that's shared. So I think that the public perception right now from tennis players is that they would be losing a court. So I just wanted to put the information out there.
okay.
Yeah, and I think tennis players are definitely sensitive right now in this movement with the pickleball and stuff. And so maybe, and really throughout Colorado Springs, even there's hardly any solely tennis courts available anymore. So it might be beneficial to leave it for at least a little bit. I don't know.
Sorry, I've been in and out, folks moving some stuff into my house here, but I'm surprised at the result of this survey, actually. What's the discussion been? Everybody's thinking that it's better to just leave the tennis court as is.
Colin,
Or-
we haven't had too much discussion on it. So what we did, I shared the results, kind of talked through it. And then Danu brought up, well, should we leave the tennis court as is, or should we move forward with the repurposing to make it a dual court? So we're kind of in that phase of the discussion.
Okay.
And I'm definitely happy to share the full results of the survey if anyone from PARAB would be interested. I think they're pretty interesting.
Yeah, so can we interpret it as saying that if you identify as a pickleballer, you think it's a good idea and are a little bit excited about it, but if you identify as a tennis player, you really hate it?
I think that is safe to say, Tim. Yes. So I'm looking at the survey now, and you can see how it's divided. Most people are, according to this survey, most folks who responded are either tennis or pickleball players. They are
Right.
not. And so you could see how the polarization would happen, and on both sides there.
Well, you were sort of having trouble finding a contractor to stripe the courts anyway, hey, Jillian?
I actually am. And I reached out to 4 different striping companies and Colorado Springs. I cannot get anyone to come out right now. I will keep trying because I'm interested to see what the cost would be. And we will need to get quotes, of course, if we do end up striping the court. So I'm going to keep trying. And I have my court connections with Colorado Springs looking as well. But we're in the same boat, I guess. So tough to find folks to stripe courts right now for some reason.
So other than the polarized positions that you totally expect at this point, I mean, is the demand there? I mean, I guess that would seem to have more impact than anything. If you've got a bunch of pickleball players that are all down there waiting for courts, and you've got a tennis court that's sitting vacant, I think that's one thing. If that's not the case, I don't know, Colin, do you have a better feedback on what's going on out there?
Well, I mean, from the times that I've been there, there's always, it seems, pickleball players waiting. And in fact, a lot of them go onto the tennis court anyway to at least practice, even though there aren't any lines. So from a use standpoint, I would be in support of striping the tennis court for pickleball and putting this hybrid thing in. I just don't see, I mean, I play tennis and pickleball over there. I don't see tennis players waiting around to use the court. So I think that's something, and I don't, sometimes it's hard to know, like, I think tennis players, like Rebecca was saying earlier, feel threatened. So maybe if they don't even really use the court, they would just disagree on principle.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think for tennis players, there's kind of a feeling that, the courts aren't going to be available. And I think already when there are a lot of people, using the tennis court for pickleball, it's a little bit discouraging to tennis players. And I think just lining it goes another step in that direction. So I think that's what people are saying, is it's a feeling that they're going to lose opportunities for, to feel like there's a ready place where they can play tennis here.
Right, but I
Anthony-
guess that the question is that if you differentiate the fact, I mean, if I go down there as a tennis player and there's people playing pickleball, how is that any different than people playing tennis? I would just sit, obviously hang my racket, and I would wait for the next available court. So how does this interrupt that? Demand is still demand, regardless of how they're using it.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a cultural phenomenon right now that pickleball's got, people coming out and hanging rackets. It's just kind of a different culture, I think. But again, I just think, from my perspective, it's a slight loss if there isn't this tennis option. But again, I'm just one person here.
But you're a tennis player though, right?
Yeah.
Anthony?
Exactly.
So that's
Yeah,
Anthony does
so
both.
am I. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I totally get it, but I guess my point is that if I go down there, and whether it's being used for pickleball or whether it's being used for tennis, the fact is that if I want the next cycle for a lesser term of the court, I would wait for that. I don't think it necessarily makes a difference what the demand is. It's just a matter of, in some ways, it's almost like you're saying, as a tennis player, I'm going to exclusively keep this for us, and I don't want anybody else to use it for anything else. But if the demand right now is greater for pickleball than it is for tennis, and yet I can still go down there and play tennis on the court, I guess I'm confused why there's an issue.
Well, and I think it's even one better than that, Dave, because I think as a tennis player, you do have precedent. So, I can understand, like from Anthony's point, there might be tennis players who don't like the idea of any kind of potential confrontation. But I feel like if there's we've got this signage. I went over with Jillian today, the language for the signage for the hybrid courts. I think it's very clear, and it's, hey, if tennis players show up, pickleball players need to finish up and move off,
Yeah,
so I don't
think right now, though, really quick, I just think right now we can't get it done anyways. We don't have anybody to do it. We don't know how much it's going to cost. So I think we just keep getting more information. Right? Problem
And I have
solved.
to say, one of the problems with surveys is getting people to take a survey. There really is a barrier to doing that small effort, and looking and seeing how evenly split this appears to be between people primarily interested in having this available for tennis or available for pickleball and tennis. There are a lot. I expected to see fewer people responding on the tennis side. I think we should pause and probably not move forward on restriping. That's just my feeling.
Well, it kind of sounds like we have to kind of pause anyway until
Yeah.
we have more information. So, Jillian, I would just kind of proceed as along the path you're going on, and when it comes time to discuss again, I guess we can revisit it again.
Okay. And Colin, I will look at I know you sent me your preferred language for the paddle up rules that we're going to put up. So I'll go over that and get a draft to you. My aim is within the next 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. And I don't know, are we talking about the positioning of those paddle racks right now, or is that coming later in the meeting?
We can. Let me scroll back up because I did want your thoughts. So there's Brad again.
Yeah, I'm sorry for Brad's good work here. I really think that those need to be right next to each other.
Okay. So
Because then it creates confusion of like one rack is for one court and the other is for the other court, whereas it's not. It's basically, we're just trying to be one long rack.
Okay. So if you can see my mouse at all, would you prefer we move this original one over
Yes.
towards the entryway and then put the other one next to it right here?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. No problem. They are easy to move. So that's not a big issue. We just wanted to get it up and get paired spots on it. So we will get that moved. And I think I have a couple more updates for everyone. So I was approached by our water division this morning, and this is an aerial view of Higginbotham Flat. So there's a, whoops, I'm using my pen instead of my mouse. All right. So there's a water main that goes down this hillside to the back of this building here, by the Ute Chief Spring. And the water department would like to put a fire hydrant in this location where I've drawn the blue blob on here. And they said potentially they would like to put a hydrant there. And that would just be for quicker access to water if we needed it in that area. And it would also help with water main issues. And they can explain this a lot better than I can. And I'm happy to invite them to the next meeting. But I wanted to share this during this report because they did approach me today about this. So I don't know if there would be any resistance to putting a fire hydrant up there, but just wanted to share this with PARAB while it was fresh on my mind.
So I have a question. There's a fire hydrant over by the storage units, and that's when we had the community garden up there. They used to pull water from that fire hydrant by the storage units, and then somehow they were able to monitor how much water usage they used. So the garden group paid the water fee. Now, I think that's a great idea to have water up there, but I kind of feel like we should have our master plan designed first before we just plop the water hydrant there, because it'd be great to be able to, you know, have access to the water. And would that just be for the city water then?
I assume, but I will double check.
Yeah, because it'd be great if we could have irrigation up there. I mean, that kind of opens up a lot of different possibilities for our native landscaping and for the whole master plan design and look.
Right. I did ask if we could hook up irrigation using the hydrant, and the answer was yes, it is doable. So that could be something we incorporate.
Yeah. So I would think that would be an important component to add to our master plan.
Okay. And yeah, I'd love to have the water division representative sit in on the next master plan meeting.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, maybe I love every time I talk to somebody from water, I feel like they're always discovering new mains. So
Oh, yeah.
maybe there's more water. Maybe there's more water than we'll find out about at the next meeting. I didn't even know that was there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, they ran that water line in when they built the storage units so that there would be water provided to the caretakers.
Yeah, but is this different than that?
No, this is how they ran the water. They did that, like that horizontal drilling. But back then, Bethesda, who did this whole development and paid to get all that water and the utilities up there, back then they were asking for it was a lot of money for a tap fee. If the city wanted to tap into their water, we had to pay an expensive tap fee. But I think that might have expired or ran out over time, because apparently now if the city can just put in a fire hydrant, it doesn't seem like it's an issue anymore to tap into the water main.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. And we have a Creek Week cleanup coming up on October 7th. If anyone would like to volunteer, we are incorporating 4 different sites this year. I know in the past, the main site has been Memorial Park, but we're going to be cleaning up the creek from the Serpentine Roundabout section, down to Soda Springs Park, to Memorial Park, to Shriver Park. So we'll have 4 different sections. Danu, I think you're a crew leader. Is that correct?
I think I got voluntold.
Oh, okay. That wasn't by me. So
I understood.
But yeah, you are welcome to choose any of those parks except for Memorial Park. We do have Eric Carlson, our street supervisor. He'd like to be the crew leader for Memorial Park. But the rest are fair game. If you'd like to choose which park you want, you don't have to decide now. And
well, I think I'd like to do Serpentine.
Okay, awesome.
What is that, Serpentine down in Soda Springs?
Yes. All right. I'll put you down for Serpentine. And the Pikes Peak litter letter, we actually are doing our cleanup a couple days after the litter letter project is due. So we are going to do our own art piece, and we're working with the Chamber of Commerce on the design right now, and we'll display it somewhere in Manitou Springs, and I'll have more information on that at the next meeting. Which I guess, I can't see my calendar right now. I think the next meeting is right before the Creek Week cleanup. So that'll be great. All right. And I did look up, and we can save this for our chess. Actually, no, yeah, let's save this for our chess table discussion. But that's all I have right now for my report.
Great, thanks, Jillian. Any questions for Jillian? You know who else you should probably, it'd be great if back to the tree committee. It'd be great if Matthew wanted to head that up. And also Mary Ellen Montgomery was also part of the tree group also. And she had a few other people who were interested to be part of that tree group. So if Matthew wanted to kind of take charge of that, and then if he wanted to go ahead and give us like a arborist report, you know, we can incorporate that under your parks reports. He can have his own heading, separate heading.
I think he'd love to do that. I heard he
Okay.
really likes talking to parents, so I think he'd have fun at these.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Jillian? Okay, then let's move on to old business. I met with Becca Davis and we went over the budget and kind of tweaked it a little bit. Jillian, if you want to just skip straight to the Becker's Park and the CTF fund, that's the last one there. Because that's the one that mainly concerns us.
Do you want me to pull up the agenda? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
All right, one moment. All right, it's loading. All right, Dani, which page did you want me to find?
Scroll up or scroll down. Yeah, scroll up. Okay, now real quick, where it's highlighted in red, where it says the parks assigned, that's our fees in lieu of land. And when I met with Becca, I asked if any monies had been deposited in there for the dedicated park space, fees in lieu of land for the Crystal Park Road development. You guys remember that whole process? So we got the dedicated amount of land, but it didn't equal to the whole amount as per the formula. And OSAC hasn't received any monies for that either. So Jillian, maybe if you could follow up with planning and see where we're at, because I don't want that process to get too far down the road and we lose our window to be able to get our fees in lieu of land for PARAB and for OSAC.
I can follow up.
Oh yeah, I think Hannah was gonna do that administratively. So basically for 2024, we have about $4,000, $3,000 of that for mini grants and $500 for strategic training planning workshop and $500 for park improvements, which in the past we used those monies for a dumpster because we didn't qualify under the Conservation Trust Fund regulation guidelines to have public dumpsters because it was for the public. It wasn't exclusively for the parks, something like that. Anyway, so that's what that line item is for. Okay, you can keep going.
All right.
Okay, so our conservation trust fund. Where our professional services, Becca and I talked about that, and we thought $50,000 would be, good for 2024 to earmark for the Higginbotham Flats Master Plan. Any questions about that? Okay, and then after that, we have zero funds for the matching grants, zero funds for, let me read off my cheat sheet so I can see what I'm doing here. And then we have a line item that's a miscellaneous. Am I in the right spot here? I can't really see that, but that's basically used for capital improvements that might arise, and any other thing that might come up that wasn't accounted for in our line items. Then Jillian, we don't have any money in our picnic bench line item because you agreed to take on that expenditure cost.
Yes.
Okay, and then there's no money in the Soda Springs Reserve. And then we have the memorial tree bench. There's $3,000 in that. And we're required to have some kind of funds set aside per the ordinance to have monies in there for repairs or replacement. The pool and recreation, there's $20,000 in that, and that's been spec'd out for the senior and ADA fitness equipment that I'd really like to revisit and maybe talk to you sometime about, Jillian, see what we can come up with. I mean, I know that $20,000 is not going to be enough, but it's a start anyway. Manitou Art in the Parks, $5,000, and that is for any kind of the peeps repair that I think the city picked that one up. Little Free Libraries, the Mana Zoo repairs, and any artistic installations. And then urban forestry, we have 10,000 in that. 2,000 for tree maintenance, 5,000 urban forestry tree survey, and $3,000 for new trees. And I know that kind of overlaps with your budget, Jillian, for the trees and parks, I mean, in the city. So this is specifically just for in the parks though, trees in the parks. And then this line item parks is kind of a general catch-all. I have $40,000 in that, and that's for any kind of new park development that's going to be coming up, which is like that pocket park on Crystal Park Road, and also Higginbotham Flats, any kind of overflow from that. We also used these funds for Clean Air Lawn for some organic maintenance of our turf, and it also went to pay for a gardener for our parks gardens in the past. So I believe that leaves us with a total budget expense of $118,000. If I did my math right. So anyway, any questions about that, you guys? Jillian, do you have any questions?
I don't think so. I think I emailed you the questions I had, so thanks for responding to those so quickly.
Okay. And just to remind everybody, our conservation trust funds keep rolling over into each other. So the less we spend, the more money that we end up accruing to be able to use for bigger projects. Okay, and then El Paso Beckers. That's the Fields Park, the skate park. Let's see, is that, maybe that's before the Conservation Trust Fund. Or, yep, there it is.
Okay.
Okay. I asked Becca if we could fund the cost of the organic land management for the Fields Park turf out of the park maintenance budget. And she agreed to set aside $12,000 So we have Clean Air Lawn, that can take care of the turf at Fields Park. And it'll come out of the El Paso Beckers Fund. That particular line item, the Park Maintenance Fund, is a steady revenue each year. So we get a stream of income every year from that particular line item. The capital purchases, once that money is gone, it's gone. And I believe we have a little bit of money left in there. I don't know exactly how much that is, but usually Becca uses that money for administrative stuff, or for that fund can be used for other parks as well. And that's about it. Okay, any questions? Okay, well then can I get a motion to approve our 2024 budget for Conservation Trust Fund, El Paso Beckers Fund, and the general fund for fees in lieu of land?
I'll make
Motion so moved. Go ahead.
and I'll second it. Whoever said that first.
Oh, so whatever I just said, you guys want to take that as the, okay, all right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, great. All right, Dave, Tim?
Yep.
Tim? Oh, Tim might have to leave.
Sorry, I'm driving. Yes, I'm good with that.
Okay, all right, well then the budget for 2024 is approved unanimously. Okay, Jillian, so now we're gonna go to the approval of the location for the memorial bench. Jillian and I went and visited 7 Minute, and as we discussed, there's the art pedestal, and there is now an art installation there. So, it's a great art installation, by the way. So I just moved the location down a little bit to where I'm standing, so we could have a bench there.
Looks good.
Okay, all in favor of that location for the memorial bench?
Aye, aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, great. That motion for that location of the memorial bench passes. Now, I have to follow up with the person who requested that, and she lives in Australia, and our communication is all, via email. So the next step would be for her to decide what size bench she wants. The style comes in 4 foot or 6 foot. And then they have models that you can actually engrave the actual bench boards with the engraved message of what you want to say, or if she wants to do a plaque, but she's got to come up with the funds to buy the bench and to have the plaque made. So that's the next step. So I'll just get in touch with her and I'll let you guys know. Okay, location for bench by the pickleball court. Did you want to revisit that again, Jillian?
Yeah, I just want to get confirmation that either of these locations would be okay with PARAB. So they're both under one of the trees on either side of the path leading towards the pickleball court. The bench would be facing the court. So you would get a view of both courts from wherever you're sitting. Any additional thoughts would be great. Danu, I know you want us to avoid concrete, so I can talk to the team about using one of our alternative ideas for placing the bench without using concrete.
Jillian, I would just like to ask and see what the other PARAB folks think of the possibility of putting 2 benches there, one in each configuration that you have etched in here. I think there's definitely enough demand for it.
Okay. We think two would make sense as well, by the way. They would like really complement each other sitting there, and we wouldn't do any of that. The benches in the playground area are kind of on those concrete pedestals. They're a little odd looking, so we're gonna make sure that we don't do anything like that to anchor them, but it'll be very aesthetically pleasing.
What do you think, Danu? You okay with 2 benches?
Yeah, 2 benches is fine, and I'm even okay if we don't need to do concrete. I mean, because then we could just move the benches around, and maybe we could like put a stake in the ground and chain the benches.
We would need to anchor them somehow. I don't think we should put loose benches there. So let me chat with the team about what we can do to anchor them without using concrete and get back to you.
Yeah, or ask Matthew what would be his other method to like do the least amount of damage to the trees.
Okay.
I agree. I think we should probably hear from our arborist first before we make a final decision on how to do it.
Right.
But I think 2 benches sounds great.
Yeah, I'm okay with 2 benches also.
All right. Awesome. And then, okay, any other questions with that?
No, we'll just wait to hear from Matthew and from the rest of the team, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. And then Jillian, go ahead with the location for the chess table. Is that what the pictures were?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So our crew kind of unanimously thought that mansions would be an excellent location for a chess table. It's a peaceful park. We have folks doing yoga there every day, Tai Chi, it has the gardens. So that was our recommendation for the location of the chess table, or they're called game tables. But regardless, we thought that, so I kind of asked the team, what do you want to see in this table? And they said sturdy, ADA accessible, and easy to maintain. So I pulled up a couple of examples and I requested a few quotes because not every site had the price readily available. So the top one here, this is made out of concrete and steel. They're retails for about $2,500. And this side here is open, so you could use a wheelchair to access that chess or checkers table. The weight is 425 pounds. I like this one here a lot. This is super sturdy. It's made out of concrete. It's 2,000 pounds. So we would need something pretty large to move it, but once it's in place, I think that folks would have trouble doing anything too nefarious with it. And this is one that I did request a quote for. And this one is also ADA accessible on this side here. And I found another company that will custom make them. So if we have a specific request, like this one here has the knight chess piece as the base. And then these, they're accessible as folks can just go up to the sides that don't have the benches. So that's another style that I requested a quote for that we could look into. I'm assuming those are the custom ones definitely, and possibly this big one here would be more than the $2,500. But these are just what I found. There are other options out there, but those were our favorite, the sturdy ones that are accessible for folks. Also, someone mentioned commissioning concrete couch to construct a table, a concrete chess table. So that could be an option as well. But I would love to hear other thoughts on this.
Colin?
Boy, I like that same round table that
Yes,
you
nice.
Jillian. I think it's nice. I also like the one with the knight there, but those seats look really small and not very comfortable, those little tiny seats. So yeah, and I like mansion, sounds great. You just want to make sure that the size of the squares on the chessboard are the standard 2.25 inch, which I assume that these probably are, but that might be worth checking. If they're too small, regulation chess pieces don't fit on it. I doubt they do that, but if you have that in the specs, that'd be great to just know.
You said 2.25 inches?
Yep.
Okay. I'll make sure those are in the specs.
Okay.
You know, I actually like Colin's original idea of putting that in at Shriver Park. And that second one would go good in Shriver Park, because I think we already have a concrete picnic table at Shriver. And we could, since it's concrete, I'm sure it's not gonna go anywhere or move anywhere, so maybe we wouldn't have to put it on concrete. Or maybe we could just do like a crusher fines kind of, pad for it or something.
Yeah, I was down at Shriver today. I identified a few potentially good locations, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, I was thinking maybe by the pollinator garden, Colin, or maybe even over by the there is a little grassy area that the kids used to use for practice for tag football, but then it got used as a parking lot when we remodeled the parking lot. So, and it's Shriver's a little bit bigger. My only hesitation with Mansions is that it's so small, and it's already got the big pavilion, and it's got the fountain. It's got a lot of components already going on in there. I mean, where did staff think that would be a good place to put that chess table?
It just in the large grassy area, kind of to the east of the pavilion.
Yeah, and that's where everybody does yoga.
That is where people do yoga.
Yeah, that's the yoga place. So I'd rather, probably my preference would be a different park than Mansions.
Okay.
So, but I like
Hmm.
Shriver. I think that was if
Yeah, there's
Ellen,
one-
if you wanna, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Jillian, can you de-screen share and I can share a picture from my computer?
Yeah.
A sec. Okay. I don't know about this, if it's structurally good or not, but this is like, so this is it's kind of right across from the bathroom. And this looks like, I don't know, there's like this old wall here, but this looks like it could use some kind of attention. And I wonder if fixing this up and putting a table here would be a possible place. It's kind of a nice overlook. It's right above the creek. The kiddie pool is down this way. It's far away enough from the kiddie pool. And then back right over behind it here is that kind of weird area where those 3 tables are on that weird concrete thing. I don't know what's going on there, but this could be a possibility. The other one I thought, Danu, is somewhere over by on the far end near where Sharon Gibson's memorial bench is.
Oh yeah, yeah. We used to have horseshoes there.
That's also really pretty. I don't know if everybody knows where that is.
Yeah, it's on the opposite side. I don't know what's underneath that wooden thing. It seems like that's maybe used to be something that, yeah.
Yeah,
That,
I don't think it could go there. I think it would have to be over here. But again, I don't know. Jillian might know more about it. It just looks like this whole little area, they've done such a great job of fixing up the bike path entrance area over here on this other side that this could, I think, use a little sprucing up. And that was one idea.
mhm.
I had.
Maybe, Jillian, maybe you could ask Kevin or Roy what that wooded area is there. I mean, because if it's nothing, it'd be nice to kind of.
Yeah, I can ask him. And is that a life preserver in that picture, Colin?
Yeah, I think it is.
That's random.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree. That area could definitely use a little love. And if we're getting a completely concrete, extremely heavy table, even if that area did flood, it would be easy to clean afterwards. So that could work.
Well, and if it's popular enough, we could put it in, like 2 different tables, because one table isn't, that much, but if it gets popular.
Yeah.
At the risk of being unpopular with the work that's been done at Shriver, I have to say I think that the idea of putting it more centrally in Manitou, like in Mansions Park, for example, or perhaps another one of our more central parks, is a compelling idea. I guess I picture people walking to this, and I don't really consider Shriver Park a park that many people
that live in Manitou Springs are going to walk to. Do we think that people are going to drive to the park to play chess?
I don't know about that, Tim. The reason I thought Shriver is because there's a lot of traffic there for other reasons, like kids on the playground, kids at the pool. The bike path kind of comes right by there. There's the basketball court. So I didn't know if, I don't think people would drive there to do it, but I wondered if like, oh, hey, you know, someone's there because their kids are in swim lessons. Well, let's go out to this nice little table. And
Sure, great thought.
but if we can afford it, at one point there was a talk of putting two in, or somebody mentioned it. I don't know if we could do one in each place.
If I could just say, I mean, I think this is great, and they all look like I think it'll be a great addition. Is checking with like Concrete Couch to see what they could come up with? Just, I don't know, something kind of distinctive and cool. Is that a reasonable option?
Yes, I think, Anthony, other than if it's too, like, if the squares aren't the right size, or if they're colored red and green or something weird like that, most chess players wouldn't like that. So I think it would have to be a design that maybe by Concrete Couch's standards is a little less adventurous.
I agree with you, Colin. I think it's important to get that game board right and to get it durable so it'll last. You know, so it won't, you know, you can maintain your red and your black colors. That would be my only thing.
There can't be, you know, material between the squares or they get uneven or something. You know, I think it has to be a company that has experience in designing durable game tables.
Anybody else thoughts on that?
I'd love to see a submission if we can get it. And I think we can probably give specifications. And if it's not within what we're looking for, then it's not within what we're looking for. But the idea of doing something local is always appealing.
Yeah, just ask them and see what they can come up with. It wouldn't hurt, right? If it's, you know, beyond their scope, I think that they would be pretty quick to reply to that, but I don't know.
I mean, I know Steve. I can approach him. I know they're really busy right now with their Coyote, you know, Concrete Couch summer session, and they just settled up with Colorado Springs Utilities, so that they've had a lot on their plate. You know, where I'd love to be able to utilize Concrete Couch is for them to do a redo of our little free libraries. That's where I'd really like to utilize them to start building new ones, so that we can replace the old ones that are needing a lot of love.
Yeah, that and Wheeler Park.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Jillian and I talked about Wheeler Park. That one's kind of a tough one. We sort of thought, well, let's kind of revisit that one next year, and after the weeds all die off and over the winter, and see what we end up with. Does that sound okay with you guys? So.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. All right, so new business. The Indigenous Day, we were approached about adding a new cottonwood tree to Mansions Park for Indigenous Day. And it was Matthew's thought that we should replace the catalpa tree that's more like a bush with a cottonwood, which is Manny's idea. And Tim suggested doing a cottonless cottonwood, which I think is a good idea. I know that I've had a few people say that they don't want to see the catalpa gone because it was pretty symbolic of our whole kickoff to the tree planting day and Tree City USA, and so there was actually, it was quite a huge ceremony. I think it even got on television. So my thought is I could go either way, but cottonwood trees are going to get ginormous, and if we could move it closer to the creek, that would be my preference, instead of putting it like right in the middle of that lawn area. Do y'all know where I'm talking about? In 7 Minute Springs, I sent you a photo. Candace, have you ever been to 7 Minutes? Not 7 Minute Spring, Mansions Park. I'm sorry, Mansions Park is the park that's right behind City Hall.
I've walked through there.
Okay.
I haven't spent any time there.
Right. So if you have walked through there, you'll notice like this big kind of like bush grown right in the middle of the turf area that's closest to the parking lot. That's the location that we're talking about. So I don't know, maybe that'd be something to revisit again with Matthew. I mean, I know that most of you all responded that you were okay to replace the catalpa with the cottonless cottonwood. My only concern is just how ginormous the cottonwood's going to grow, and if that's the best location for it. But it has to be that particular tree, or I believe Manny said another sacred tree was like a fir or some kind of a pine tree of some sort.
Ooh, that'd be
So
pretty.
Yeah, I wondered too, Danu. We have a lot of cottonwoods, right? I'm not a tree expert, but a lot. I mean, something different.
A lot of people are allergic to.
well, yeah, and that's why Tim suggested the cottonless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's gonna get really big, and even if we do cottonless, it's still, I don't know, if we could do one of like the firs or the pine or whatever it is, I think that would be better in that location. It's partially just the symbology associated with it too. So if they're open to that, that's what I would prefer, but
Okay.
otherwise it would have to go somewhere else. It's too big for cottonwood right there.
Yeah, that was my worry as well. So I forgot when the group said that Indigenous Day is, but it seems like it's coming
They're
soon.
doing it the 8th for that tree planting. That's on the schedule. So the Sunday, I think.
When is it?
October 8th, Sunday, October 8th. They have events going on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I think the tree planting is the 8th.
Well, what are people's feelings about the catalpa tree?
If it needs to go, if it's not thriving, then it needs replaced.
I feel like we've learned our lesson. Catalpas don't grow in Manitou, no matter what the labels say. That's not our first catalpa.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Well then, maybe I should contact Manny and see what other fir might be available. There's two pine trees already there, so I guess one more wouldn't be a bad thing, as long as it's something that doesn't drop a lot of needles, or because a lot of times the turf won't grow under pine trees because of the acidity of the needles. So that would be another question for Matthew.
Yeah, and as far as size goes, with some of the things that we might be considering, all of these things get to similar sizes, potentially, but the cottonwood's just going to get there faster compared to, a spruce or a fir or like a ponderosa pine. I think is the only thing that's different here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it depends. Do we want it to be next generation's issue to consider, or like 2 generations from now to consider?
That's in the back. I love it. A ponderosa would be really rad there, but I don't know how.
I love ponderosa pines. They're great.
Yeah.
I'll ask Manny if that one makes the grade, because we don't have really any ponderosas around here. And then, I guess what I'll do is I don't know, Jillian, do you want to talk to, Matthew? Well, let me talk to Manny first. I'll shoot him an email. I'll copy you and Matthew on it, and I'll copy all the PARAB on it too, and we can go from there. Because I think Matthew already gave a thumbs down on the Catalpa, so. Okay. I think that's all I have on my agenda for tonight. Does anybody have any other business?
I'm not sure how that new sculpture is at Fields. I thought it was gonna be a little different, but that's all right.
Oh, you
Seems
know
like the
what?
seats aren't very like
Are
actual.
you talking about that metal thing?
Yeah,
The flower.
Yeah,
flower thing.
not
Candace, it's a
not-
flower.
yeah, it looks like hell.
Yeah, I was not impressed. Sorry.
You can't even see the flower part. I'm just not a big fan of metal art.
Uh,
Sorry.
it's all right. It was an expensive piece of metal art, but
Ugh,
it's there. So
well, whatever.
Yep. Try to make peace with it. And at some
And
point
then-
we should.
With the fencing, I don't think we have to worry. I think we just leave the fencing as.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. All righty.
Hey, Danu.
Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
This is something that's probably a little bit late for this year since we've just kind of approved our budget, unless it's something that we think we have the energy for and can fit into maybe art into the parks. But I was wondering if we could maybe get everybody's thoughts on this at a future meeting to discuss like an art walk in our parks. And maybe others are familiar with these types of things in other cities, but Winter Park and Fraser do this really, really well. And there's a trail that goes along the Fraser River between Fraser and Winter Park. And for the last, I think, 2 years, they come up with a topic. They take submissions, and then they put up, I think, about 20 reproductions of these submissions along the trail. And on the submissions is a QR code that you can scan and sort of vote for your favorite. And then there are monetary awards for the top 3 based on the voting throughout the summer. But it's very well done, at least how they do that there. I think could be something that's very interesting to get more art in our parks and get more representation from local artists in Manitou or even from the surrounding area, and could be something that we could use to help get more interest, particularly in Creek Walk. If anybody has seen that type of thing, great. If not, I would encourage you to do an internet search for Fraser Winter Park Art Walk. And if there's interest, I'd love to talk about this type of thing maybe at the next meeting.
Okay. I wonder who I guess we would partner with the creative district, eh, Tim?
Yeah, we could, and certainly I think we've had good relationships working with that before. But yeah, that would be one way to do it. We already have organizations in town that are probably, ready to go with ideas like this potentially, and at least for the support and helping with submissions. And perhaps this is something that we could carve, I think maybe up to $2,000 to start with out of our budget in terms of awards, maybe a little bit more than that in terms of the actual setup.
Yeah, or we could go to match. Write a grant.
Yeah, that's a great idea too.
Yeah. So. Okay, so, what, should I do something, Tim? To follow up on this, or should I just leave you to it?
Let's put it on the agenda to talk about next time, and I'd like to kind of hear what everybody else says. I'll ask some questions with the district as well as the MAC.
Yeah, I would talk to Audrey Gray and Natalie. That would be a good place to start.
Yeah, Natalie is definitely one of the first people I was thinking of.
Yeah. I would do that first, Tim. Open up a dialogue with them and see what they think and how we can partner with them.
Well, why don't we just, maybe we can spend just a few minutes and I can give an update, and anybody else that has any ideas on PARAB can jump in next time, and we can see where we are with interest and where we want to go with that. If we want to go with that.
Okay, well then, why don't you open up a dialogue with the Arts Council people, and I'll put it on the agenda for discussion.
Cool, thank you.
Yep. Okay, anybody else have anything? Okay, if not, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting, and thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too. Good luck, Colin.
Thank you. Bye.